Hi guys, Nick Thomas here. Welcome back to the Academy of Historical Fencing. So, on to the mighty Spadroon, everyone's favourite weapon. Spadroons, they get a lot of bad rep, and that's because they mostly are crap, but they also are really important to the history of British military swordsmanship, and not just British but other nations too, but that's what I'm interested in. So they're important for us to look at, particularly as the manual we work from Roworth is broadsword, sabre and Spadroon. So if we're not using the Spadroon, we're missing a whole third of the weapon styles used in the actual manual. This is an original Napoleonic Spadroon, so this was made around about 1800, and this is the Black Fencer training sword that I had made for me. So yeah, the Spadroon. I've talked about this in a lot of videos. The British military Spadroon is essentially a light back sword. No, it is exactly a light back sword, and in that regard it is very, very flexible. This is the heaviest example of this pattern I've ever seen. I've got a few others which are much, much lighter. So yeah, this is actually one of the heaviest. It's 750 grams, and a lot of that is in the guard and pommel as well. They come out usually around 32-inch in blade length, and they are light and fast. They are basically a militarised small sword. And by militarised, I mean the blade is slightly heavier and has a cutting edge, and that's it. So it is a militarised small sword in many ways. Okay, so Black Fencer, this is what we really want to talk about. This is their training sword that I have made, and how does it work? Well, I had them use their new rapier blade, base it on the new rapier blade, because I wanted a blade that was light and flexible, and a little bit flimsy, frankly, because that's what the British Spadroon blades are. And then guard-wise, I wanted to roughly simulate the double shell guard that the Spadroon has. Okay. Specification-wise, this came out at 680 grams. The originals are around about 680 to 720. My really heavy one down there is 750. So it's just at the lighter end of the spectrum, and it's a whisker shorter as well. If I had another one of these made, I would have it made, I think, 1 centimetre longer, which, 1 centimetre might not sound like much, but it'll just be a little bit of extra reach and weight, and actually affect the balance as well. So yeah, 1 centimetre extra will make a difference, as they say. How does it work in the fight? Well, frankly, it feels like you're cheating when you use this to spar, because compared to the sabres, it is so fast, it is ridiculous. Is that, you're making a parry, a beat, something like that, and the weight's not trying to carry through into a rotation, it's just able to stop, start, and move all over the place into quick feints, disengages, double feints, and all kinds of craziness. So it is really lightning fast. So from our fencing perspective, it is actually an unfair advantage compared to what it would have been historically, because we're not taking into account cutting power, or thrusting power for that matter, because we have to just expect that our opponents will stop on a good hit, and the Spadroon does not have the stopping power on the cut that an infantry sabre will. But it then in sparring is a lot faster. So you must take that into account if you're going to use one, is that it can be a little bit cheap because it's just so lightning fast that it's crazy. But anyway, that's an oddity of the training weapon. One of the beauties of having it made as synthetic is it's just so much stronger. I've had quite a few and made up a few steel Spadroons, and I tend to break them really quickly. And that's because I'm using them against other swords of the day, sabres and broadswords, and they just get smashed to hell. I've broken quite a few blades of steel Spadroons now, and they're just not up to it, because they're just too thin for the job. Whereas, the synthetic, because it's a plastic, a nylon or whatever it is, it's able to be so much thicker and more resilient. So I've used this against lots of heavier blades, and it's resilient and tough. So it's it's working well. So size-wise and weight-wise, it's about right. I'd like that extra centimetre and I'd be happy. Balance is, I think it's about 8 centimetres, which is about right as well. They go to about 8 or 9 centimetres. The Spadroons at the time, they were quite hilt heavy for the kind of sword that they are, and that's because the blade is light and the hilt is heavy. So that's about right. Stylistically, I would have preferred this guards to not have a square edge there, but a rounded one, because the ones historically that pattern did. Some of the earlier ones were square like this, but the 1796 pattern were rounded off. That's purely aesthetic, makes no difference whatsoever to the sparring. So dagger pommel on it is perfect for the blade because it's a light blade. This quillen is, sorry, it's not quillen. This knuckle bow is really strong, really tough, all welded into the pommel, so that's tough as hell. This shell, Black Fencer, they told me they could make it thicker if I wanted to, but just see how it works like this, because it's going to add hilt weight, and you can see it is dented and buckled. It'll reshape easily, but should it be stronger? Yeah, I think on the next one I order from them, I will go a little bit thicker. This is pretty reasonable depending on how high contact levels you're going to use and what you're fighting. But we use high contact levels and go up against heavier blades, so it is going to get a beating. So yeah, I go a little bit thicker there, and I'd add the centimetre there, and that'll probably take the weight up to about 710 to 720 grams, which actually puts it in the kind of really average range, so that's ideal. So yeah, next time, there's a few little tweaks I'm going to have made on the next generation, because this was just a test I had made, and I think it will be ideal. There's not really much else to be said about it. I mean, it's not like Spadroon is very commonly practiced or commonly made for any kind of HEMA weapon. It's rough. It quite accurately simulates the original swords in size, rough look, handling, and in the fight. So yeah, with those few little tweaks I'd like to have made, or if you want to order one, have them made. Remember, 1 centimetre extra on the blade, slightly thicker guard, and if possible, round the knuckle bow there. Those are the only tweaks I would have made. Aside from that, absolutely perfect, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to use. And you could also have it made slightly differently without a shell, because the earlier Spadroons either didn't have anything like this, like any kind of shell, or they would have just something on the side, like a side ring on the outside, for example, and they have made a few like that as well. So if you wanted to have that earlier style, or non-pattern style of Spadroon, you could also have that done, and that would get around this issue, although they will make it thicker if you want to make it thicker. And there you go. So, really good training sword. I'm still not convincing many people to buy them because, the Holy Spadroon is still not proven that popular. But it's not going to, because it was a crap weapon historically, and people won't forget. And because sabres rock. Anyway, there you go. Spadroon, Black Fencer as ever have come through. They'll make you a custom almost anything. And they do put the effort in, and it's come out as a good product. So yeah, if you want to order one, I'm sure they'll be happy to make one. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.